Well, hey, neighbor, it's me, Angie, and we're back with the neighborhood chat. Now, I know it's been a while. I know. I've been out of commission for a week or so because I didn't have my wheelchair. Um, but I'm back now, and I'm excited to have our neighborhood chat. Come on over. It's a Sunday. Yeah, it's a Sunday morning, and beautiful. The sun's shining. Uh, I got drinks and snacks, whatever you want. And Taylor's even cooking chicken spaghetti for supper if you want to stay for supper. But anyway, today our neighborhood chat is going to be about scars. You know, um, if you've lived long enough, you have scars. And not only do you have scars on your body, you have emotional scars. I was thinking about scars this morning when I was praying and meditating about what our neighborhood chat was going to be about. And I was thinking of the many scars that I have just on my physical being. You know, I have a scar where they put my pacemaker in, and it had a good ending. They put something in that gave me life, that made my heart continue to beat. So that scar is not horrible for me to look at. It's sad. It's sad because I have to look at it and know that I have to have a device to be able to live. And then there's my scar where I had my section with Taylor. That was a good scar. Even though I have to have that scar, they had to give me a C-section in order for her to be born. So I got something from that scar. I got a baby. Something, a miracle. But all of our scars are not, our physical scars are not happy scars. You know, I have a scar on my ankle where I stepped out the back door and I broke my leg and I had to have 2 plates and 10 pins. After an operation that I got a scar on each side of my leg going down into my foot. That's not a good memory for me. And actually, if I just touch that scar in a certain place, it's still a little tender, you know? It still is sensitive. I can name many more scars. I broke my shoulder. I had to have surgery. I can remember my very first scar. I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. I was standing out on a porch, and my stepdad was cutting grass, and he slung a piece of wire onto the porch, and it went into my leg. And the wire stuck into my leg, and it was just blood just going everywhere. And my uncle came over and got me and took me to the emergency room, and I think I had like 3 stitches. Well, I don't think about that scar very often. Actually, I hadn't thought about it in years until I started thinking about scars. But the main scars I want to talk about today are emotional scars. You know, scars that we can't even see with our own eye, but we can feel them. You know, just like I was talking about feeling my scar on my leg. If I touched it, it's sensitive. It's healed. It's healed up, but it's still tender. And we have emotional scars that are healed up yet still tender. If anybody lives long enough, you're going to get emotional scars. Sometimes it takes years for that area to heal and become scarred. Sometimes it doesn't take very long for that emotional scar to heal. You know, somebody hurts your feelings, somebody offends you, somebody acts ugly towards you. It leaves a little nick of a scar, but you don't remember it like you do the big emotional events that go on in your life that leave this big, huge scar when someone hurts you or someone passes away or just a tragic event that takes place that hits you emotionally. You know, sometimes we think people can't see our emotional scars, but most of the time they can. Because emotional scars, when they don't heal, tend to come out in our actions. You know, it's like when I'm in pain, I'm not the same person as I am when I'm not in pain. When I find myself in a lot of pain, I'm quiet. I don't really want to carry on conversation. I I just have a whole different demeanor than when I'm not in a lot of pain. When we have emotional scars that haven't healed, we learn to cope with them in a lot of different ways. Um, that we may not even realize the actions that we bring forth to other people. We may not even know it. Um, Especially when somebody hurts you. And we have all lived long enough to have someone emotionally hurt us. Whether have gone through a death of a loved one that we were emotionally attached to. Whether we have went through a friendship that's ended, that they're not passed away, but emotionally you were attached to them, and it left an imprint on you. It left a scar, an emotional scar. Now, like I said, it takes years to get over some things that hurt you and leave a scar. You know, when you have scar tissue, when you have so many surgeries and you have scar tissue, that is a place where doctors say, we can't do the surgery. There's too much scar tissue there. So when things heal back after you've been hurt emotionally, they're not the same as they were before you got that scar. You know, a scar is something that the skin doesn't look the same anymore. It's rougher, it's tougher, it's thicker. You know, a scar is, it heals, but you get a little tougher emotionally when you've been scarred, and you get hardened sometimes to the point where you say to yourself, I'm never going to be hurt again. I'm never going to let anybody hurt me like you've hurt me. I've been there. I know that emotional hurt. But what I want to tell you is, don't be that way. Because if you close yourself up to never allowing someone else to come into your life after you've been emotionally scarred, you will miss out on so much of life. It's also like that person's still controlling you. Like they still have a part of you that you have turned over to them to say, okay, because you hurt me, I'm not going to allow anybody else to, I'm not going to allow myself to love like that again. I'm not going to allow someone else to love me the way I want to be loved because you hurt me. Now, when we've been emotionally scarred, it's like a deep, deep hurt where we have to have stitches, and now they even put staples because it's deep. Emotional, when someone hurts you emotionally, you would much rather be hurt physically. I know I would. Emotional scarring can stop you from going on with your dreams. It can hinder you from expressing yourself like you would like to express yourself. I mean, you're not the same person. I'm not the same person I was before I contracted this autoimmune disease. Am I a bad person? No. But I'm not the same person. I've changed. I've gone through a lot of pain, a lot of physical pain. But that doesn't mean that I do not love 100%. That I don't give myself over to loving others, because I do. Because when it comes down to it, that's all there is. There's nothing else that matters. It's for us to love one another. That's it. That's all that this world boils down to. It's not how much money we can make. It's not how many friends we can have. It's not what the greatest job we can have. It's not that I can do something better than you can do it. It's not a competition. It's about loving one another and understanding our differences and love each other through those differences. Now, when you're emotionally attached to someone and they hurt you, that's devastating. It is. Because you've invested a lot more than just a fly-by-night friendship relationship. Now, that kind of love is a verb. You know, that's an emotional attachment. But in the Christian faith, the word says God is love. So that is a noun. So it says we should become like Christ, God-like. He sets the example. So if we're going to love people, our love has to be a noun. It has to be something that is just who we are. It doesn't mean that we don't care about you. Actually, we care about you more than we do emotionally, because you can't, your love for someone has to be greater than your need for them. You know, your need for them, if that comes first, if you need them more than you love them, it's emotional. Like you can't do without them. If the other person doesn't feel the same way you do about the love that you have for them, it can hurt. But what you have to understand, that other person may not can love you the way you love them. They may not have the capability of doing that. But I would say to you, love anyway. Sometimes it's hard not to get emotionally attached to someone, because you can meet them and you just feel a connection toward them. They have something that you have been missing in your life. They have something that you have needed. You know, it may be someone that you haven't had a mother in your life and they become this mother figure. It may be you have lost a child and that person becomes like a child to you. But they don't feel the same way. That can hurt. Someone needs a significant other. Someone needs something that they're missing. That's when you get emotionally attached to someone, when there's something missing inside you that you are searching for. It doesn't always go bad. A lot of times it works out. Because that's what causes us to fall in love, is an emotional attachment. We fall in love with someone and they fall in love with us. So it's not always bad. But when we're looking at our scars, let's don't pretend that they're not there. Let's try not to act like everything's okay inside and no one's going to ever see. Now, do people see my scars on my body? Well, no. But when I go to the doctor, the nurse says, well, tell me all the surgeries you've had. So I have to name off all the operations that I've had. And each one of them has left a scar. And every relationship that's gone bad in your life, over ever how old you are, whether it's been bad, it's left a scar. Now, a lot of times people move on and they don't deal with that scar and it heals. But it's still a little sensitive when you go back to it and you are reminded of that scar. And sometimes when we get into other relationships, people have us to remember those. They cause us to remember those old scars. And to me, that's like God's way of telling me, Angie, you haven't dealt with it. You haven't dealt with it, honey. You need to reevaluate that scar. And you need to accept it and embrace it. And understand it was a lesson learned. There's nothing wrong with that scar, Angie. It's a battle wound. It's something that you learn from. At least we're supposed to learn from our hurts that we get in life, things that we go through that cause us pain. We're supposed to learn something through that, through it. We're supposed to go through it so we'll be able to talk to others about, hey, don't stay stuck there. Don't stay stuck where you are. Move on and go walk into bigger and better things. Love again. Love again. You know, love as a verb it feels so good. And love as a noun feels so good. They're both freeing. Especially when you're in love and the other person's in love with you. There's nothing greater than that. You know, you can have a friendship, a relationship with the person that you can be in love with them, and it doesn't have to be a marriage. And what I mean by that is you can have a close friend that of the same sex, and you can say, I'm in love with her. I just love everything about her. Now, you don't want a sexual relationship with her, but you just say, she gets me. We are connected spiritually. I'm just in love with her. And there's nothing wrong with that. When you love someone and truly love them without you needing them more than you love them, there's nothing greater than that. You know, we go back to the meaning of love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not self-seeking. Love is not selfish in any way. Love is giving. Love does not seek revenge. Love forgives. You know, we have to forgive each other. And sometimes we say we forgive and we really don't. But forgiving is a process depending on how deep the cut is. Sometimes we find it easier to forgive a total stranger before we'll forgive someone that we have been friends with for 8 or 10 or 12 years. And that's because we expect more out of that person because we've invested in them. When someone hurts you, don't walk away bitter and angry and revengeful. Don't do that. Take a moment and say, it's okay. You know, it took me a long time to really grasp that scripture in the Bible where it says, pray for your enemy. Do good to those who use you. And I'm thinking, I can't be nice to someone that's been mean to me. Especially when I've invested in them and loved them. How can I be nice to them? But it's possible. It's possible. It's not easy, but it's possible. But when it first happens, you have to take shelter. You have to take refuge. And you have to doctor that wound. You have to safeguard it so it won't come back open again. Don't allow someone to control you by you not being able to allow yourself to heal and allow yourself to forgive. Don't allow someone not to have you love again. I know it's hard. I know it is. And remember, love when you don't when you don't feel anything. Hug someone. Embrace someone. Give to someone. And it'll all come back to you. Scars are not bad to have. Scars are something that we look back on in our life, or I look back on and I say, boy, I learned this and this and this. Especially emotional scars. I try to find the lesson in it, try to move forward. Because I want to be able to love James. I want to be able to love my children, my grandchildren. I want to be able to love others the way I'm supposed to. And if I hold on to things and I hold grudges and I just use people and I talk about someone that's hurt me to other people and try to get them to turn on that person, I become just like that person that hurt me. And I don't want to do that. Don't do that. Love brings out joy and happiness and kindness. Love's the answer. I don't understand why people find it easier to be angry and mad and not love others than to love, because love is the easiest thing in the world. And I guess that's why we find it so hard to offer others, is because it is easy to give. But when someone hurts us, we retreat and we take it from them. Remember, friend, it's okay to face things. It's okay to look at your battle wounds, your emotional scars, and say, I'm better for it. I learned something. I'm going to love again, and you're not going to keep me from it. I'm going to be true to myself. I'm going to embrace it. And with that being said, neighbor, like, share, subscribe, ring that bell. Consider becoming my neighbor. I'll see you next time on the Neighborhood Chat. Bye.